welcome back to Mrs. Ruiz's class. Today we have another fantastic math lesson and it is titled Compare Customary Lengths. So today we're going to do some comparing. And let's look at our objective, boys and girls. Students will measure to compare customary lengths. Okay, so that is what we're going to work on. And we're going to think about the word compare. Okay, so what does it mean to compare? Think about that. We've heard that word before in school. We've used it with compare and contrast. So those are words that are used together. So think about it. What does it mean to compare? Okay, so if you compare or contrast two objects, you are looking at them and you are finding things that they have that are similar or things that they have that are different. So things that are alike and things that are different is what we think about when we compare something. And in this case, we're talking about objects and we're focusing on their lengths. So we can use the word shorter and longer to compare lengths. So just in general, just by looking at something, for example, if I look at these two paintbrushes, I can make some observations. I'm not using a measuring tool, but if I compare them, what can I say? What can I say, boys and girls? I think I could say that the blue paintbrush is shorter than the green one. Do you agree with me? I think I can say the green paintbrush is longer than the blue paintbrush. Wouldn't you agree? So I can use the word longer and shorter when I compare objects. Now I just compare these objects by looking at them. I didn't use a measuring tool, but for the sake of the lesson that you will practice today, you will use a measuring tool. I just wanted you to use the word shorter and longer and understand what they mean when we are comparing lengths. Okay, so that's why I use those paint brushes. So now we're going to do a little practice. We're going to do a little practice comparing objects and finding out some information about them and figuring out which one may be longer and which one is shorter. So we've talked about using rulers. We've talked about using yardsticks. We've talked about using measuring tapes. If I'm measuring short objects and I see there that I have 4 objects, or small objects I should say, taped onto my chart paper there, what would be the appropriate measuring tool to use? What do you think? There's a pencil, there's a marker, there's a pen, there's a pair of scissors. So what should I use? If you said a ruler, an inch ruler, you are correct. So that's what we're going to measure with the ruler. So let me start with that pencil. Okay, so remember I'm using the school one and this one actually has a 0. So I line up the 0 where the object begins and it is about, we're going to say 7. I know it's a little past 7, but we'll go ahead and say it's about 7 inches long. So I'm going to write the number 7 right here. And then I'm going to move on to this marker and do the same thing. Line up the 0 with the edge of the marker. And if I look at it, it's about how long? If you said 5 inches, you are awesome. So it's about 5 inches long. Okay, so our pencil is 7 inches long. Our marker is 5 inches long. So I'm comparing them and I see a difference. And I see a difference in those two measurements. Okay, and if I see a difference, then I'm going to find out how many inches different they are. So I would be subtracting. So I could say the pencil is blank inches. And in this blank here, I'm going to write if it's shorter or longer. So first of all, is a pencil shorter or longer? If you said longer, you are correct. So I'm going to write the word longer here first. The pencil is blank inches longer. So how many inches longer is it? If it is 7 inches and the marker is 5 inches, How could I figure out how much longer it is, boys and girls? I would subtract to find the difference. So 7 inches minus 5 inches is 2 inches. So the pencil is 2 inches longer. Hey, I hope you agree with me, and I hope that you see how I figured that out. Let me just move this up a little for the sake of making it easier to measure. Let's look at the bottom one. So there I have a pair of scissors and I have a pen, and we all agreed that the best measuring tool is a ruler. So I'm going to measure the scissors first to find out how long they are. Okay, so I'm just gonna lay it over it. And let's just say it's 9 inches long. And then I come to my next object, which is a pen. Let's just say it is 6 inches long. It's about 6 inches long. So my scissors are 9 inches long and my pen is 6 inches long. And the sentence there says the pen is blank inches blank. So now we're focusing on the pen. Is the pen longer or shorter than the scissors? If you said shorter, you are correct. So I'm going to write the word shorter. The pen is blank inches shorter. Okay, so we're comparing those two objects, so we need to find the difference. And when you find the difference in the length, that means you are going to subtract. So 9 inches take away 6 inches is what? If you said 3 inches, you are awesome. The pen is 3 inches shorter. Okay, so that is what today's lesson is about. Looking at objects and comparing them, actually measuring them, finding the difference, and deciding which object is longer and which object is shorter. And you're going to have a chance to practice yourself in your math book. So once again, remember, boys and girls, we are working out of My Math Volume 2. And I'd like for you to turn to page 665, which is Chapter 11, Lesson 4, Compare Customary Lengths. And on that page, at the bottom, they always give you the directions, okay? It says teacher directions, so I'm going to read the directions to you. It says find 2 objects in your classroom. Now, obviously, we're not in our classroom right now, so we could just cross out the class part. Find 2 objects in your room. Compare the lengths. Draw the objects and explain which object is longer, which object is shorter, and which object is longer. So that is what you are going to do today. Now, let's just come back here to our poster for a second. So here, I only use one sentence to describe each of the situations here, what we were comparing. The pencil is 2 inches longer. I could have said which one is, I could have said the marker is 2 inches shorter. Okay, I could have said that too. There's different ways of saying it if you want to use the word longer or shorter. I only showed using one example of each, but you could find different ways. You don't always have to say these are longer. You could find which one is shorter instead of saying longer. So I just wanted to clarify because the page here in the book does ask you to explain which object is shorter and which object is longer. Then you're going to turn to the next page, 666. Up at the top, like we know, it's always useful to read the top information in the box. It says you can compare lengths of objects. So in the book, you see that they have a picture of a baseball bat, and it was measured at 33 inches. There's a picture of a golf club that was measured at 31 inches. The baseball bat is 33 inches long. The golf club is 31 inches long. The golf club is 2 inches shorter than the bat. And here you see the way you think it out. 33 minus 31 equals 2. So that is the thinking that you would do to find the difference in measurement today. And you will have an opportunity to practice. So on page 666, 667, you are going to find those objects, measure them, write the lengths, and write longer or shorter. So you would measure the objects just like I did, and you are going to find out which one is longer or which one is shorter. And make sure that you are doing the thinking, the mathematical operation, which would be subtraction, to figure out what your difference is. Once again, boys and girls, you know that you don't always have the objects that are in the pictures. If you are not measuring that object in the picture because you don't have that real life object at home, then find another object that you can replace it with. The whole purpose of these lessons are for you to practice using the measuring tools, and today's main focus is being able to compare and find the difference. You would turn to page 668, and here you would do problem solving. So as you know, there's always word problems that you have to read and figure out exactly what it is that they're asking you to do. And of course, we're focusing on measurement and comparing. So that is what you would be doing on that page. So once again, you're responsible for pages 666, 667, 668. Okay. And before we actually finish, I do want to go back and look at our objective. I know sometimes I forget, but I remember today. So our objective, students will measure to compare customary lengths. Now, you haven't done this on your own, but once you get into the book, you will have a chance to practice doing that. But we did it together, and hopefully that you feel confident in what you saw me demonstrate, and you could do the same when you practice in your book. So I hope I was helpful in helping you understand how to compare customary lengths. And I hope you enjoyed this message, and make sure that you do it, not this message, this lesson. And I hope that you do it so that when we meet on Zoom, you have this done and we can have a good discussion about it. Okay, boys and girls, thank you for tuning in, and I will see you soon. Bye.